Thousands of people demanded gun control in the nationwide March for Our Lives movement. The most expensive electoral campaigns in the political history of Mexico are about to begin. Adult film actress Stormy Daniels tells 60 Minutes that she was threatened to keep quiet about her relationship with Donald Trump, and works will get underway on the United States-Mexico border wall. Hello and welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm Elliot Bullman. Let's go to the information. Emma Gonzalez, a senior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, spoke for just under 2 minutes on Saturday before tens of thousands of demonstrators at the March for Our Lives rally in Washington. And then she said nothing for 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Ms. Gonzalez's speech was a poignant moment during a day of demonstrations filled with emotional displays. At gatherings across the country, speakers, most of them students, denounced gun violence and committed to stopping at nothing until their elected leaders took action to prevent it. Although the events, which together drew hundreds of thousands of demonstrators across the United States, were inspired and often led by students, many protests simultaneously benefited from groups with more financial resources and organizational skills than the teenagers had on their own. Skeptics of the marches seized on the roles of major interest groups, suggesting that the students were unwitting participants in political warfare that should be reserved for adults. But organizers and supporters of Saturday's events have done little to disguise that millions of dollars and thousands of hours were directed toward the weekend's protests. Everytown for Gun Safety, which was founded and financed by Michael Bloomberg, the billionaire and former New York mayor, proudly declared that it had doled out more than $1 million in grants to local organizers. Also, a non-profit led by former Representative Gabrielle Giffords and her husband, Mark Kelly, arranged for more than 200 people from the Parkland area to attend Saturday's march in Washington, and said it had worked with the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, to use the NFL franchise's plane to bring some people to the Capitol. Although adults were involved in some planning, an organizer listed on the National Park Service permit for the march in Washington, for example, is a prominent activist from California. There's little doubt that students were crucial to orchestrating Saturday's events. And in other news, on March the 30th, Mexico's presidential candidates will receive the official starter flag for the beginning of their presidential campaigns, which in total will cost 670 billion Mexican pesos. This week is very important for the country, since they'll start the most expensive electoral campaigns in the history of Mexico. On March the 29th, presidential candidates will make an appearance at the National Electoral Institute to formalize the registration of their candidacy, and only a day after, the departure will be given to their candidates for their electoral campaigns that will be the most expensive ever. The 9 parties, agglomerated in 3 coalitions, will receive jointly 2.148 billion pesos, plus the 42 million pesos that the independent candidates will receive. So in total, the campaigns will cost over 6.7 billion pesos. According to a survey by Consulta Mictovsky, Andrés Manuel López Obrador extended his advantage in voting intentions towards the presidential elections in Mexico in July. His Morena PT-PES coalition candidacy obtained 29.5% of the support, compared to 27.1% in the last Mitofsky survey published in February. Then Ricardo Anaya from the PAN and PRD with Movimiento Ciudadano is in second place, but his preferences were reduced from 22.3% in the previous survey to 21.2%. The candidate of the alliance, headed by the PRI-governor José Antonio Meade, occupies third place, also with a decrease in voter support, which fell from 18% to 16.4%. Another survey published last week by the newspaper El Financiero also places López Obrador at the top of the preferences and shows Meade advancing into second place, while Anaya fell to third place. More than 87 million Mexicans are eligible to vote in the presidential elections on July the 1st, in which more than 3,000 positions will also be elected in 30 states of the country. In other news, adult film actress Stormy Daniels claimed on 60 Minutes she was threatened to keep quiet about her relationship with Donald Trump. She told CBS News a man had approached her in a Las Vegas car park in 2011. The stranger allegedly said, "Leave Trump alone," then looked at her young daughter and added, "It'd be a shame if something happened to our mum." Mr. Trump strongly denies having an affair with the actress. His lawyers are seeking $20 million in damages from her, saying she broke a non-disclosure deal signed before the 2016 presidential election, while she says the claim is invalid. Ms. Clifford said she had had sex with Mr. Trump just once in a hotel room during a celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe, California in July of 2006. Mr. Trump married Melania Trump in 2005. President Trump has not responded to the latest allegations and was at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida over the weekend, but returned to the White House ahead of the interview on the 60 Minutes show. Mrs. Trump, however, stayed behind in Florida, a White House spokesman said. Ms. Clifford said that although she had not been attracted to Mr. Trump, she had had sex with him, adding, "I didn't say no, and I'm not a victim." She also told CBS she had accepted hush money from Mr. Trump's personal lawyer because she was concerned for the safety of her family. In other news, the US President Donald Trump said that the works to put a wall on the border with Mexico will begin immediately, and it will cost $1.6 billion initially. On March the 23rd, the United States Congress approved a $1.3 trillion financing bill, which includes increases in military expenditures and a budget lower than that expected by the president for the border wall. He says much can be done with the $1.6 billion giving to building and fixing the border wall. He says it's just a down payment and work will start immediately. That's what he said on his Twitter account on Sunday. The rest of the money will come, and remember DACA, the Democrats abandoned you, but we will not, he tweeted. The law includes clauses to attract the support of conservatives as it contemplates an increase of $80 billion in the military budget and more funds for security at the borders. On the other hand, Trump wrote in his social network that the protection for the so-called Dreamers was abandoned by the Democrats. He tweeted that due to the $700 billion obtained to rebuild the armed forces, many jobs will be created and our army is again rich. Building a great border wall with drugs and enemy combatants entering our country has to do with national defense. Build a wall through Mexico, Trump added in reference to the wall with Mexico. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.